change people's mindsets, like the world.
The love is here. George is here.
If we don't get no justice,
if you can make federal laws to protect the bird, which is the bald eagle, you can make federal laws to protect people of color.
So a year ago, we didn't know his name. Now George Floyd is forever etched in our history. Floyd's murder reignited a racial reckoning that for centuries many people fought, even died for. Now a lot has changed over the past year, yet so much has stayed the same. More police killings, more names. Can there be real justice when our system has such a systemic issue? Well, tonight we continue the often uncomfortable conversations that we all truly need to have when it comes to understanding race, understanding relations. Good evening to you. I'm Marcus Washington, and welcome to our 14th installment of Race in America, The Conversation.
Good evening. I'm Jessica Aguirre. Now, without these conversations, change just can't happen. Today, one of those conversations happened at the White House when George Floyd's family met with President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and congressional leaders. Now, the private meeting said to be focused on their emotional state and also remembering George Floyd and continuing to create meaningful change. The president had hoped that Congress would have passed the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act by this first anniversary. It was among the topics discussed today. Tonight, though, it remains stalled in the Senate. But that isn't slowing the demand for real reform, not just from Floyd's family, but from people nationwide. Throughout our nation's history and the battle for civil rights, we remember the people and the events that push change forward.
Timberback character, I have a dream.
It came from speeches. A black woman who refused to give up her seat on a bus. It came through marching. But in recent years, the moment that pushed the needle the farthest came on May 25th, 2020, in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Please, I can't breathe.
That agonizing 9 minutes and 29 seconds that led to the death of George Floyd at the knee of a Minneapolis police officer set in motion a nationwide wave of soul-searching. People took to the streets, along roads and across oceans. Statues toppled, schools were renamed, and voices rose in unison, demanding that cities defund police. Floyd's image was more than just a picture on a wall. It became a symbol that the status quo was no longer acceptable.
Big question is, what do we do now? And where do we go from here?
Nearly a year after Floyd's death came his justice.
Unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty.
A jury found former police officer Derek Chauvin guilty of Floyd's murder. But Floyd's name doesn't echo alone. Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Rashad Brooks, Daunte Wright, Mario Gonzalez, Oscar Grant. And with those, the families they left behind, hoping to add their own personal justice to a new chapter of civil rights history written by one man.
And we must not forget the names, men and women we only know today because they were killed by police. Dr. Rayshawn Ray is a fellow at the Brookings Institute and sociology professor at the University of Maryland College Park. Now, before that, he taught at UC Berkeley. Dr. Ray's work examines racial and social inequality in law enforcement. Now, I asked him what, if any, impact Derek Chauvin's guilty verdict has when it comes to justice in the black community.
We still realized that that was simply one incident. That was one murder. And in the United States, every single year, over 1,000 people are killed by law enforcement, disproportionately people of color. Over the past 15 years or so, Derek Chauvin makes up less than 10 of officers who have been charged and convicted of murder. When people talk about racial disparities in policing, when people talk about racial bias in policing, when people talk about systemic racism, that unfortunately is alive and well in our law enforcement system.
Are we seeing any police departments, municipalities out there across the country that have made a change and it's benefiting the community?
I think so. I think the biggest one is probably Newark, New Jersey. Newark, New Jersey is the poster child right now for what it means to rebuild a department. Activists would call this abolishing and then building it anew. So rebuilding the department is what Newark did. They literally let go of everybody, fired everyone essentially, and rebuilt their department.
Talk to me about defunding police. I think a lot of people feel that that's an attack on police officers, but from things that I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's really just putting that money to services where it wouldn't necessarily require police officers to respond to a mental health call or something to that matter. Am I correct in that?
When people talk about defund the police, they're talking about reallocating funding. If we look at Oakland, for example, Oakland pretty much has the highest percentage of money that comes out of the general funds, over 40%. That's way out of whack of other places. So if you take 3 to 5% of the budget and reallocate it, particularly to social services, people to get mental health support, that means before someone even gets to calling 911, they've already had the resources that they need. That's reallocation, which is different from abolishing and rebuilding. And oftentimes people confuse those terms.
And I know the thing that you and I probably have in common is just being Black men. And anytime you are stopped by police, you fear what could happen, whether you've done something wrong or not. You, as a father of 2 young Black boys, talk to me how you talk to them, how you maneuver through and provide a sense of security for them as well as yourself.
Well, look, Marcus, I'll tell you, I mean, it's difficult. I mean, I have a 9 and a 10-year-old and, 2 boys, 2 Black boys, as you mentioned. And I remember when my youngest boy was born, when my oldest boy was born, we had just moved to Oakland. I was working at UC Berkeley. I had this great job working with the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. And while we were there, the Oscar Grant trial was happening, or the trial about the officer who killed Oscar Grant. And then we fast forward roughly about 16 months later when my youngest son was born. And he was born less than a month before the killing of Trayvon Martin. And so it's a continuous cycle. And for me, what I primarily worry about as a parent and as I worry about as a sociologist and a researcher is when my kids go from cute to criminal. And deep down, I still know that no matter how much they comply, we know that compliance, unfortunately, still might not save people's lives.
So how do we dismantle this institution of racism built on white supremacy? It's systemically, it's intertwined throughout.
These bad apples come from rotten trees. And one thing I know from doing research on law enforcement is that good apples cannot simply counter bad apples. Instead, they become spoiled, stained, and also rotten themselves through contact with them because they end up being pushed out or pushed down when they try to do something with the blue wall of silence. Good apples are showed what happens when you try to crack the blue wall of silence. If we want them to report, we have to create independent state agencies that they report to when they see misconduct to protect them from any sort of repercussion that I've seen come down on so many good officers around the country. We see all these civilian oversight boards popping up all over the country. Sounds great in theory, but if those people don't have a vote within the misconduct board, within police departments, you actually don't know what's going on. Instead, putting civilians on that creates transparency, accountability, and equity.
Dr. Ray, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Now in the East Bay, Oakland Police Chief LaRon Armstrong says that he is dedicated to creating the change so many people are demanding. I sat down with him to talk about weeding out those bad apples, repairing mistrust in the community, and police funding.
The first thing, I just want to clear up is a bit of maybe miscommunication that the Oakland Police Department represents 18% of the actual city's budget. I think sometimes when people look at the budget in terms of just the general fund money, there are other alternative revenue sources within the city. I don't think that you need a badge and gun to go to a non-violent person suffering from mental illness. That you should seek to have mental health professionals that can respond and be able to provide the services that are needed. The Oakland Police Department is one of the few police departments in the country where our officers are trained in crisis intervention. And so officers understand how to de-escalate situations and not find themselves in a position where we have to use force.
And I want to talk about the blue wall of silence is what many people are calling it. When you talk about a bad apple in the bunch, how do you separate that? How do you separate the bad apples from the rest? Because the bad apple will eventually spoil the others.
Well, as a department, you have to be willing to hold people accountable. And you have to call a spade a spade. And I'm really challenging all of my officers to represent their best selves. And when they see somebody doing something that's not in line with the values of the police department or in line with the values of the city of Oakland, that they're mandated to say something, to intervene, to take action, to say that this is not who we are as a police department, and we don't want this to be the reflection that the community sees of the Oakland Police Department. That's where I think the change comes from. That's where I think you get beyond the blue wall, is everybody coming together as a community and accepting what right is right and wrong is wrong.
Just as a black man, I've spoken to many people, and a lot of times, myself included, when a police officer comes behind you, whether you've done something or not, you get nervous. Do you hold another responsibility, or do you feel another level of responsibility as a black man? I know as a police officer, you just are an officer, but do you feel that what people are saying? Do you understand why people fear?
I totally understand. I still feel the same fear. I've always felt that fear. I think it's something that you learn when you're young as an African-American man, when your mother or father sits down with you and tells you how you should behave when you encounter a police officer. When they tell you that if you don't do what you're told, there's the potential for something bad to happen. So I think that fear is ingrained in us, and it doesn't leave. We have to reach a place where the story doesn't have to be told to our children. I hope that I don't have to tell my grandchildren how to deal with law enforcement. I hope law enforcement improves to the point where everybody can feel safe when they interact with a police officer. Nobody's perfect. We're all going to speed. We may potentially run a red light, but at the end of the day, we all want to make it home safely. And that includes the officer. So I think it is a joint effort between both of us to realize that united, we are one community, not police against community, not community against police, just one community.
All right, Chief Armstrong, thank you so much. I really do appreciate your time.
Appreciate you having me.
And, you know, that's one thing I think we all hope for and want, is that one community, but we've seen so many instances where that isn't the case. But it is interesting to hear Chief Armstrong really talk about that he's really pushing for change. And he even talked about his personal experience, which I understood. You know, it's like, okay, let's see how that's going to make a difference. And he is very earnest, and he seems like he's very committed. But the truth of the matter is Oakland has had other chiefs that have come before that have said the same thing and said, yeah, we need to make changes. I mean, it has had a troubled situation since, like, even dating back to 2003, right, when the feds put it under a consent decree because of issues that we're having with the police department. We saw it again. You know, it's been a litany of investigations. In 2011, during Occupy, you know, Oakland, there were allegations that police used excessive force during some of the protests there. So there have been multiple investigations. We hope that this time, you know, that this has changed enough that it'll stick, but this is not a new story. Yeah, and it was interesting what Dr. Ray was saying, that, you know, it's important for us to have citizens a part of these community or boards that oversee what police officers are doing and hold them accountable. That's so important because we are part of the community. They are there to protect and serve us, and we should have a say in all of that. Yeah, let's hope Chief Armstrong is the one to be able to make the change. Let's hope. All right, up next, coping with racial trauma. I talked to Melissa Barnes, a clinical psychologist, about that issue and how actual trauma can trigger more prejudice. The 9-minute and 29-second video of Derek Chauvin kneeling on George Floyd's neck as he dies is indelible, likely seared on so many of our minds and hearts forever. But it's not the only video we've seen over the past year. It is just one of many images that are now burned into our consciousness, maybe forever. Melissa Barnes is a doctoral candidate in clinical psychology at the University of Oregon, and her research examines racial and gender violence. I asked Barnes what the impact is of seeing those videos of Floyd's murder and others like it over and over, and how it's impacting us individually and as a society.
I developed a concept called collective ongoing betrayal trauma to label these experiences of indirectly witnessing these extremely traumatic events. Not only are people experiencing this at the individual level, as you said, but it's also this collective experience within the Black community of they're hurting, I'm hurting, my neighbor is hurting. What do we do? How do we say that we're hurting while also holding on to this thought of, but we want people to see this. We want people to know that this is happening, but it's also traumatizing us at the same time because we're seeing it over and over and over.
So is there a difference between that kind of collective trauma and betrayal trauma, or is that the same thing?
Yeah, that's a good question. So betrayal trauma is specifically around interpersonal trauma, so individual level, where the police officer is perpetuating violence towards somebody else. They're violating trust within a relationship or dependence within a relationship. And collective trauma is about the whole, about the group. What does a group experience as a traumatic event?
It's so important to raise this issue, to bring it to light, to expose the videos. But then how do we do that without re-damaging ourselves over and over again?
Is there a reason why folks need to see people dying at the hands of police? Is there a reason they need to see it for that person to become human to them? I think that's something we need to think about at the media level, at the societal level, and at the individual level. For folks who see this online, in the media, being reported, there are symptoms of post-traumatic stress showing up for those folks who weren't there.
How does it manifest? How do I know I'm suffering from that?
So for some groups, it might be more physical symptoms. It might be more racing heartbeat. It might be like more sense of anxiety. For some people, it might be more psychological and cognitive within your thoughts. So your thoughts might change about yourself. There might be this idea of internalized prejudice of I'm not a good person because why would they be targeting people who look like me if we were good, right? It might change the thoughts about other people. They're not safe. I can't trust them. I don't go out and interact with them. It might change your views of the world. So it kind of depends on the person.
I think if I hear you correctly, you're saying that that could even trigger more prejudice because seeing it, all of a sudden you're like, I'm not going to be safe because we have this fight or flight, instinct that something that scares us has to be something that we have to get away from.
Yes, absolutely. So we could see a sort of distancing of identity, so people not wanting to identify, but we could also see the reverse where people say, you're targeting us for no reason. I'm going to be even blacker, even prouder, and try to hurt me. Like, I dare you.
And then what do we do?
I think we can think more critically before posting something, right? What's our intention behind posting the entire video? Folks in power or who have the authority to make large scale changes they can participate in what we call institutional courage. So using the institution's power to act courageously, put resources towards intervening on police violence, be more transparent about what's happening in these situations, be more transparent with reporting.
All right, Melissa, thank you very much for your research and your insight.
Absolutely, thank you.
And it's interesting, there's such a nuance there because had we not seen those 9 minutes and 29 seconds, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Right.
And yet here we are a year later and George Floyd's family has been very clear that they don't want to see that part of the video anymore.
Yeah.
They don't want that to air. So most of the networks, like I know here we're at NBC, that's one of the things we're doing, we're honoring, we don't show that video anymore. But how, if we wouldn't have seen that video initially, would so much have changed?
It told the story. And I think initially it needed to be seen, but I think at this point we've all seen it, and we don't need to keep reliving that. But I think the important part of that is therapy is a good thing. I think a lot of people are fair, especially within the black community. I know specifically a lot of people say, I don't want to go to therapy because I'm not crazy. But no, it really does help you talk and walk through critical and tough situations.
Yeah, especially with this PTSD feeling.
All right, well, coming up next for you, I sat down with Barton Board President Latifah Simon to talk about being a black woman in leadership and why more black women of color deserve a seat at the table. Now, to be part of change, you've got to make sure that you have a seat at the table. Born and raised in San Francisco, Latifah Simon, she has been organizing since she was 17 years old. So I recently met Simon, who is now the president of BART's board of directors. The single mother says every day injustices inspire her to do something and to do right by her community.
And so every single murder, police murder, tells us that we have a system to transform. Name after name after name reminds us that black people are not afforded that right, that very American right, to a judicious system.
I want to talk about how the death of Oscar Grant, did that influence your need to be a part of the change?
As a mother, you know, the days and weeks and years after Oscar's murder, I consistently felt, again, as somebody who was at those protest meetings with the BART board, that there was no one speaking for not only Wanda Johnson, the mother of Oscar Grant, but for young black and brown men and women and disabled folks and folks who didn't have a voice. There were folks making real decisions about real folks' lives, and none of them had the experiences of folks like Wanda or folks like me. I have like a real deep wanting to do right by a community that did right by me.
And that's the important thing, I think, for a lot of people who want to be a part of the change, who want that seat at the table. What do you see the biggest disadvantage that we see in our community for people of color?
It's an outpouring of years and years and years of oppression. And in communities of color, we have to make sure that our schools, they mirror the schools that many folks send their children to. I tell people all the time, do a My Children's test. Would this be okay for your child? For your child to go into a school and there were no books and there was a police officer instead of a nurse? Let's make sure if someone's having the worst moment of their life, like a mental health crisis, they're met with care and compassion and not guns and shields. For me, with BART, you know, I'm still working on it with my colleagues, but it's making sure that folks have an opportunity to ride safely. And it's not a one-trick pony. It's not just about more cops. It's about meeting the real needs of all the passengers. It's about making that system affordable. It's about making it sustainable. It's not the sexiest of elected roles, but I got to tell you, the changes that I've been able to be a part of, they affect everyday people, like my mother, like my daughter, like my next door neighbor.
Have you ever experienced anything, disrespect, being called out of your name?
Oh my gosh, yeah. There was a moment before I did file paperwork for this next election, but I said, one, I'm not running, and I'm sick of the death threats. My cell phone, my email, my home address, folks urinating on my doorstep. You know, I have a policy degree. I've run many organizations, but they see me. They see me and not my qualifications. And
when you
right?
say see me, you mean see a black woman.
I'm a black woman who refuses not to talk about injustice.
How do you continue to push when someone urinates at your door, when they call you names?
I want to be at the table until it's my time to leave. If it's not us, then who is it going to be? Like, there's no cavalry coming to create more safety, more justice. It's actually us. It's real people who've been through some real hard stuff.
Those who, like you said, you know, send you emails, who call you out of your name, who spit at your doorstep, who don't want to see you where you are solely because of the color of your skin. How do you have a conversation with someone like that?
I wear this black skin, so I feel it. You feel it. It's not something that you make up. We can't wait on some folks to open their hearts. There are enough people who will, and there are enough people who do. I know that everyone's not going to agree with what I'm going to bring to the dais, but my hope is that we can actually become a people that we're ready to have uncomfortable conversations. I'm so blessed to be a part of something so much bigger than myself, and that's really a movement for racial and economic justice. And yeah, what a job. I've been reading a lot about mothers of freedom fighters, and they, through their labor, literally changed the world, and I just hope that I can be a part of that story.
You're already a part of it.
That's for sure.
Absolutely. You know, I love what she says. You know, basically, if you want to see change, you have to be a part of it.
Right.
If not you, then who?
Right.
You have to look within
You can't
ourselves.
pass the buck. And the way she said, I wear this black skin.
Yeah, you can't take it off.
Yeah.
Wear it proudly, too.
Yes, good for you.
All right. But
all right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for being with us again, for being part of this conversation. We hope to see you next time.